Michael, what a night on Tuesday night. Did you manage to get any sleep in the end?
I actually drove back home to see the family. So I was wide awake. I don't think I would have got any sleep anyway. So it was a little bit later than normal. But it was a special night, for everybody. I think a lot of people will remember that night for a long time, and rightly so, because it was a big achievement in itself from the boys to beat a team like that as we did. Nevertheless, obviously, as the two games, the tie's nowhere near finished at all. But in terms of to sort of celebrate the boys and the performance and the effort, really was they got all the praise and what the efforts deserved.
And before the game, you'd asked the fans to show up and be loud and show that support that they always do. I mean, they absolutely did that tenfold, didn't they?
Yeah, the noise, the energy, the boys needed it at times, second half especially, and that was when it was almost it was vital that they felt that and give them the boost to get through it. But certainly from the start, you could feel a sense of something a little bit different around the stadium, and that's what those nights are for. That's what I've said about cup runs and special nights. You've got to take them, you've got to embrace them, you've got to enjoy them, and we certainly did that.
What can a night like that, despite it being half-time in that tie, if you like, with it being over two legs, but a win like that, the atmosphere, the togetherness that was felt in that stadium, what can a night like that do, not just for the team and the players, but for the club as a whole?
Yeah, I don't want to get too carried away with it either, because I don't know what's going to happen next is the honest answer. I think feeling the energy, feeling the togetherness, feeling the spirit, and was quite rewarding, quite satisfying for that one-off occasion. And there's no way we're taking the next game and assuming anything at all, because we know it's a whole new thing and a whole new challenge for us. So, but certainly that is as I've just said, it's what those games are about. To feel that emotion, that passion, and that sense of achievement really is the small side of achievement. It is for what we need to do next.
And after the game, everybody was picking out their top performers and who was, had the best performance of the night, who's the man of the match, etc. But just one player I wanted to pick out, which was Tom Glover, who, has had to bide his time. He's got his chance now, and you've always stressed the importance of the squad and that competition for places. Just your thoughts on how he did on the night, but also just wider point of how he's done since he's come in, stepping in for Seny Dieng.
Yeah, of course. I think it's easy for me to say about the squad and easy to say about everyone player's got to play a part, and it's not always easy when you're training every day and you haven't got a game at the end of the week, and it goes on for a period of time, and that's the ultimate test really of self-motivation and belief in the end to keep going and waiting for your opportunity, and being ready is important as anything. Credit to Tom for that. He's had a good run of games which I think helps get into the rhythm and the settling down, and he's made some really big saves for us over a few weeks now.
And just a word on Seny Dieng, how is he since he's come back?
Yeah, he's back now, so working his way back to fitness really. So he's not available yet, as you'd expect. That's why he's came back. So but hopefully we can get him back as soon as we can.
And just last one on Tuesday night, just Bangura and Latte Lath obviously coming off early on in that game. Just how were they? Yeah,
both coming off was a big blow for us, obviously, at that stage of the game. But and the two of them so early on, we're still kind of fully assessing it, but it looks like it'll be a bit of a period of time for both of them, unfortunately.
I suppose the boost is getting somebody like Luke Ayling through the door, that one being announced yesterday. Just your thoughts on that signing in general and what he'll bring to the team.
Yeah, delighted to have Luke. He's proven, at this level and Premier League level, and experienced a lot. Knows what it takes, to be successful, especially in this league. And delighted for different reasons. His character, his attitude, as a person, and how he carries himself is something that going to be a big asset for us, and obviously his quality as well. And so yeah, absolutely delighted to have him. He'd be a big boost for the squad and a big boost for the team.
Is he one that was sort of planned for a while, that one?
Yeah, I think we always try and plan for a while. Again, some come up and surprise you a little bit that you might not have on a radar, but certainly it was. I've looked from afar and admired him from afar for quite some time, and came up against him at certain points. And so when the opportunity came, yeah, certainly, we jumped at the chance. And
word on Lewis O'Brien as well, who was on the bench for Tuesday night, but he was getting into the side and then had the injury, and been a real difficult time for him just in his career in the last couple of years with injuries. So that must delight you, one, to have another option back, but also for him as a player to be back in and amongst it once more.
Yeah, Lewis is another one similar to Luke. Unbelievable character and person, really, off the pitch, in terms of how they cope with them, how they look after themselves, how they handle themselves. And Lewis, it was a big setback for him, but the way he's handled it has been incredible, really. He's been so positive, considering he's here on loan as well. He feels like he's one of ours, and he's made a real effort that side of things, and credit to him for that. So we're delighted again to have him back. He's a big player, and he's a real quality player, and he'll have a big save for us between now and the end of the season.
Millwall next then in the Championship. How do you manage this week, and how have you managed this week with the highs of what happened, to then have to refocus so quickly and so swiftly for a game that I think everybody would agree in the Championship is always known as a difficult game, to go to Millwall and play them at their place?
Yeah, that's the challenge. That's a great challenge for us, and we'll be ready. The boys have moved on already from it and trained well this morning, so that's gone now. We've got this game, we've got another game next Saturday before Chelsea, so maybe that's the last question I'll have about Chelsea. I don't know, maybe I'll have one or two more coming, but hopefully that's it. We can put it to bed. Because that's done, and we came in today, and it's all about, for us and the players, it's all about Saturday, because it's a huge challenge. They're in good form, they're playing well, and we know we're going to have to be right at our best to get the result we want.
In a way, is it almost good that it's a game like Millwall, because it's a place that it requires that same level of energy and intensity, doesn't it? Because you can't, by no way, shape or form, can you afford to take your foot off the pedal there at Millwall. It's one of those games.
100%, yeah. The next game is always the important, and I stress that as much as I can, but certainly after which we all know is pretty clear was a high on Tuesday, to prepare yourself and go again, regroup is a skill in itself. Not everyone can do it. It's not always easy. Sometimes you try for the right reasons, and some people just get carried away with the emotion of it and can't do it. But so it's important that we're on the right state of mind, because again, it is one of those games that you've got to be ready for.
And just finally, some sad news today that former England manager Sven-Göran Eriksson announced that, did an interview saying he's been diagnosed with terminal cancer. I know he's a manager who you've spoken about glowingly over the years, and the impact that he had in your career, giving you your first England call-up. Just your thoughts on the news and him as a person as well, because you're very well thought of in the game.
Yeah, incredibly sad news. Obviously heard it this morning just before we went out training. It was really sad to hear. Sven had a big impact on me in terms of giving him my England debut and in and around the squad in Germany at the World Cup in 2006, and so it's really sad. He had a huge impact on English football around that time, and we're close to having real success and with the players that we had, and the way how calm he was, and how much responsibility he passed on to the players, and how much faith and belief he had on the players always sticks with me. He was always super calm and give the lads the utmost kind of confidence. So my thoughts are certainly with him at the moment, and terribly sad news.
Thank you, Michael. Cheers.
Michael, you mentioned there about kind of you don't you're hoping there's no more questions on Chelsea. Have you kind of had to say...
Anyway.
No, not at all. I was just wondering whether you've had to kind of say to the players that, you know, that's gone now, we've got to focus on the weekend. It's been wonderful, but come on, you know, we've got to focus on the weekend's opponents.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's no. I'm not afraid to say that. Yeah, we spoke about that today. It's imperative we wipe the slate clean and start again. So the boys have been good. Yeah, they came in really focused this morning. Obviously in good spirits and in a good place. So channel that in the right way.
In a weird sort of way, can such a huge result like the one you got on Tuesday almost kind of focus minds on what comes next?
I hope so. I like to think so, because it's as I said, there's so much to play for. I said it going up over the Christmas period, really, of this huge opportunity in front of us to try and achieve something, both in the cup competitions and in the league. We've had a kind of mini season break in terms of 2 cup games, and now getting back into the thick of it again. So I think we can take a lot of positives from the last week and the 2 games that we've played in. Different results, but nevertheless, a lot of positives to take, and the boys will hopefully be buoyed by that and take that into the games coming up.
And of course, the game at the weekend, kind of the atmosphere needs no introduction. I suppose, how much of handling that will contribute to getting a result?
Yeah, it's always the case, especially going away from home. We know what it's like down there, and it's a tough place to play, but at the same point, it's a great place to play. You know, I love those type of atmospheres, and when there's a bit of an edge to it, and it's noisy and it's lively, and you got to find a way of playing your best football. So yeah, we look forward to it. Is
that kind of almost the key, that if you can handle the atmosphere and play some of your best stuff, that's how you go about getting a result?
It will go a long way to it. Yeah, it's easier said than done. You know, as I said, they're playing well at the moment. They've had some really good results, and they're a really good team, and Joe's done a good job. So we know what we're facing.
Thank you.
Injuries. Let's just very quickly get it over with. Paddy and Marcus, are either of them training yet?
Marcus is training, yeah. Paddy's not quite, but Marcus is, yeah.
So that's a big step forward for him then, because it's obviously been a long time he's been out. So I know you want to take him slowly, but to be able to have him back in and around it will be good.
Yeah, if we get Lewis, Marcus, obviously Finn's added to the group, and Luke. So I feel like we've had a bit of a boost. I know we've lost a couple more with Alex and Manu, but nevertheless it feels good to have the boys in and around the training group, and they train well today.
And another one that you lost was obviously Anthony. What's the kind of diagnosis there? Is that long term?
No, he shouldn't be too long. He shouldn't be too long. So hopefully in the next week or so, maybe 10 days or so, we'll get him back around it.
You talk about Luke coming in there, Luke Galen, and I mean, I think we kind of know the general way that the club want to go in terms of the signings. You look at the summer, but does this show that there is a willingness there to be pragmatic about it? Because some clubs go down a route of signing young lads, and that's literally all they want to do, and it's kind of, we will not sign players over a certain age. I think you need a bit of flexibility, don't you? And this shows that the club's willing to do it.
It's just balance, I think. For us, it's balance. I think there's and credit to Steve and Neil and Kieran for that as well, in terms of having the open mind, and obviously having a plan and a longer term plan of how we want to kind of build the team, the squad and the club, and move forward. But at certain points, with that is the balance, and we feel at this point, Luke is the ideal kind of spot to fill, really, in terms of his character. His experience is really important. We got really good senior players in character and the attitude, and they were example, and he is certainly that as well. So he's a real perfect fit for us.
There's been an awful lot kind of happened in the last 2-3 months. On injuries, matches, all different kind of competitions, all sorts. Is maybe the one slight disappointment that I think since the middle of October you've only done back-to-back league wins once, and that little bit of inconsistency in the league is maybe the one frustration, perhaps.
Yeah, I've said it for a bit. Yeah, no, I've said it for a bit. Consistency is key. I've said it for a long time. Consistency is key. We know what we're capable of doing. We've shown that. We've shown it again this week. We've shown it over a period of time, shown it over the Christmas period, and we know what we're capable of doing. It's putting it together. There's challenges with that, yeah, of course there is, in terms of suspensions at times, injuries or whatever. But if we can become consistent, then we'll have a real chance.
And just lastly for me, I mean, you haven't changed formation an awful lot really during your time here too much, and generally you haven't had Howson, Barlaser and Hackney in the same team. Now again, a lot of that's been because one's been injured at various times, but it feels now like the way all three of them are playing, you're going to find it hard not to have them in the team at the minute, aren't you?
It's nice to have good players to choose from, I tell you. Yeah, we've got that in a few positions, to be honest, in flexibility and good options, and it's great to see. You know, Dan and John, you've done an unbelievable job of seem to have played pretty much every game now for 6 weeks in one of the busiest periods of the season, and you can see that in terms of the kind of connections and wavelength, and the confidence that they're playing with, and obviously Hayden, we know what Hayden's capable of, and he stepped back straight into the game last week and looked like he hadn't been away, and that's not easy, and so we've got good options, and Hayden can play it a bit higher up at times, so we can be a little bit flexible with that. So yeah, it's obviously great to have the options. We've got games coming up where we'll have to pick and choose a little bit, and but the boys work well together, whoever plays.
Luke coming in, Michael, he's said himself he didn't play as much as he would have liked in recent months at Leeds. And seeing him today in training, how did he look? Yeah,
as you'd expect, fit, ready and raring to go,
Brilliant, and obviously Finn, it's been probably a strange week for him training around the group, but for games that he was unfortunately unavailable for me, how's he settled in this?
Yeah, settled in really well. I think in some ways it's been good for him to have a few days settling in, getting used to the surroundings, getting used to the boys. He's the same as Luke, as you can imagine. He's fit, he's raring to go, and we've got some good options to choose from. So we'll just see what kind of direction we go with.
Yeah, I mean, it 10 days into the window that Luke joined yesterday, obviously, and 2 through the door. There's still plenty of time in the window, but with the options kind of starting to come back, and obviously you'll have Sammy and Riley coming back at some point next month. Is there a danger there in kind of, overloading the squad if you were to try and do too much and kind of look at too much?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think I've said that about it's. You don't make a signing just for the next whatever's coming up in the next week or two. I think it's you make the signings for the right reasons and for the longer term. Sometimes just towards it for the end of the season. Sometimes just beyond that. And we feel we've got good options. We're flexible as well. We've got players that can play a number of positions that can kind of accommodate as well. So that can be a strength. So. I'm not saying we're not still trying to improve. We're always trying to improve. It just depends what pops up and whether we can kind of deal with what's ahead. So, but for sure at the moment we can make it work.